GPL 357 of the year, where we are a few degrees short of a full circle, and what we'll be doing is doing a review of the season so far. We'll glance forward, and to do that with me, I've got two great panellists. On my left, the ex-corruptible now, he's on the injury list, but always insightful with his comments, DC Carroll. Hello, DC.
So, how you doing?
And on my right is a captain who has it all before him, the captain of the mighty Wood Ducks, Matty Sellers. G'day, Matty.
Hey, guys.
So we will have a look at the season so far and have a bit of a chat about how things are going, and we'll have a view for the future to see if we can make some predictions about how this season will turn up. So to start us off, we'll have a talk about last week, Sewer Rats versus the Wood Ducks, DC.
Yeah, look, in a game where both teams needed to win, being just outside the 8, Sewer Rats had a couple of guys shoot good scores in the low to mid 40s, and that's unbeatable pretty much. 189 to 171 ended up being a bit of shellacking in the end, and percentage boost to the Sewer Rats is invaluable, and the Wood Ducks under the pump.
Yeah, well done, Hashem. First up, round magnificent. The Gummers against the Tridents, the Taylor two teams. The Gummers sitting right up the top. Their 181 proved much too strong for the Tridents, who are struggling a bit this season. Their 162 leaves them languishing near the bottom of the table. Very unusual place for them, Matt.
I've got the Phoenix and the Ferrets, and the Phoenix are a bit of a surprise packet this year, bolting into the top 4 with a good 177 to 171 win over the Ferrets, who are being a runner-up of the Premiership last year. They're just not quite finding their form, but I don't think it's too far away. But the Phoenix, 6-point winners.
Yeah, very impressive. How about you, DC? Wolfpack against the Buttes.
Yeah, so Wolfpack started off the year like a house on fire, and it just sort of faltered the last few weeks with maybe lack of numbers on the park. Buglers got for a pretty poor start for last year's defending premiers, but managing to pull wins out of the fire. They're just finding a way to get over the line, and 175 to 171 victory to Buglers, so that was a good tough win for them.
Yeah, sign of a good team, or sign of a team that's struggling and just getting over the line. I had the Tunners, who were fresh from their loss against the Buglers in last week, the previous rounds. Jim Foley medal, they were up against F Troop, who are in the middle of the table, and every win's gold for them. But they didn't find against the Tunners this week. The Tunners are a little bit too strong. Peter Gebber back in the side and providing the backbone to get them to a 4-point win. Matt?
I had the Ornock Chemists and the Corruptibles, and a pretty relatively high-scoring affair. Tim Brazzali with another really good score 2 weeks in a row. And he's lifted the Chemists to 178 to 175 win over the Corruptibles with Darren Carroll, as we've heard, now on the injury list. So if he had been able to finish the round, it might have been a different result. But yeah, the Chemists still in really good form, up the top of the table in the top 2 with the Gummers, and it's a really impressive start to the year.
And very stiff that Tim Brazzali's had 2 good rounds in a row too. We weren't expecting that at all.
Not at all.
And he's, I don't think anyone's expecting the draft table either. He was overlooked by a few captains. I think that looking back and thinking, why did we let him go? Back 9 mark against the Wanderers, DC.
Yeah, premiers from a couple of years ago. They're starting to find a little bit of form after a poor 2017. Mafia 179 over the Wanderers 172. It's been a poor start by the Wanderers. They're actually languishing in 16th position down the bottom.
Yeah, only ways up, Matt. It's the last game.
Last game we had Wally World and the Vultures. Wally World with their morning crew went out and had a really solid 180, and the Vultures just couldn't find the scores in the afternoon to match it. So Wally World with a pretty easy win with a really good score. They're just starting to find some form and seeing themselves into the top 4.
As they seem to be every single year. Wally World, good consistent team. Guys, the season so far, we're halfway through. I wonder if the 8's set, but before we talk about the 8, Matty, who's impressed you so far? Who's your surprise?
My surprise is the Wolfpack, really. They've been really great. Obviously, just a little mid-season form slump at the moment, but I think they'll finish really, really strongly and see themselves into the top 4 come season's end.
Yeah, well, what about you, DC?
Well, definitely the Chemists for me. I mean, like they were in disarray at the end of last year, down near the bottom. 5 guys went out of the team. I mean, half the team's lost at the end of the season, cull, and in come 5 guys in the draft. And what you need then is you need really strong leadership. And Dave Madigan's come in and he has just banded this team together. 7 wins and a loss after no one would have picked that at the start of the year.
No, there's no doubt about that. He's been magnificent. The toe cutter, well and truly, coming in and doing his work. For me, the big surprise is the Gummers. They're top of the table. Not that they are up there, because they did win the Premiership in 2012 and they're back to that type of form, but it's the way they're doing it. They are getting scores from all through their team. There's no doubt they normally rely heavily on the McCarthys to do the heavy lifting, but now we're seeing the scores coming from everywhere. And in particular, the number 5 draft pick that Shane picked, Gil Miller. A lot of people raised a few eyebrows, but he has been outstanding week to week, solid as a rock, and this consistency right through the field team is really helping the Gummers get themselves right up the top. So if we look at the 8 now, as it's on the screen, who do you reckon might struggle to hold their spot, Matt?
Look, I think it has to be the Backnine Mafia. I think they're just going to fall out of the 8. There's a few teams just under them that are looking to really push their way into the finals, and obviously the Backnine Mafia in 8th position, they won't be anywhere near it come the season's end.
Well, there we go, strong words, DC.
Look, at the start of last year, I made the mistake of thinking that the Buglers might slide, and they went on to take all before them and win the Premiership comfortably. I don't want to make that mistake twice in a row, but I will. Buglers to miss the 8. Sorry, Greg.
Don't worry, Greg will come for his personal apology on the weekend, I've no doubt. For me, I think the Wolfpack's the one most in danger, not because they're not full of chock-a-block full of talent, really, the pack, but it's their ability to get everyone here at the same time is what was always their number 1 Achilles heel. And as they've got themselves across the line in a few games, and as we work into winter, to go in with a lean team, it really starts to hurt, and I would expect, unless they can get everyone here regularly, the Wolfpack are going to find it lean times ahead as the cold comes in. So the Survivor, we've got 7 teams left in Survivor, and if I look down at the Survivor, the names, the Surats are the ones that stand out for me that might go all the way. They've really started to hit their form. Magnificent score on the weekend, and I think they're really well balanced all over their team, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Surats go all the way, Matt.
I'd have to agree with you, Kraz. I reckon the Surats are the team to do it. They've got a really solid lineup, people that turn up every single week that love playing, and obviously the loud uniforms. Their presence is known when they're on the course, and I think they're going to be good enough to win the Survivor.
They could very well be. What about you, DC?
Yeah, look, Surats not too bad. The pink uniforms, loud uniforms, certainly make a notice. I'm thinking a darker colour. I'm thinking, like, instead of pink, like a dark purple. So Corruptibles now, myself, has been taken out of the team, and they've gotten rid of their Deadwood and bringing in Frank Pinataro, who will perform week in and week out. We've been a very high-scoring team, the Corruptibles, this year, and I think we deserve to be favourites for the Survivor, and we'll go on and take it out.
Yeah, the old back just holding out the burden of the Corruptibles, taking out from Michael Rideau's a couple of years ago. Michael might have done the back in. They are a high-scoring team, but helped by 196 in the double round. Yeah, it will be an amazing victory if the Corruptibles get there. You never know. We'll have to see how they go without you, big fella.
2-time champions in the Survivor, so this will be number 3.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We do have looming in front of us a milestone of all milestones, a 200-game player, possibly. Riley Ryan sits on 188, and he'll be hoping that you are not correct. If they do go all the way, the Bugs, he will sit on 199 at the end of the season, which is a magnificent achievement. It just shows how much he comes and plays. He has really been the backbone of the Buglers from the very first year, and Riley Ryan, 188 games is absolutely outstanding. 6 in front of Timmy Stray, who is on 182. So well done, Riley, on a magnificent career so far. So we'll lead to the tips coming up for the round 9, and we really need some wins for these sides. So first, the Ferrets against the Chemists. And this is a blockbuster, 2 against 6. The Ferrets need the win, but it's hard to go against the Chemists at the moment. Madigan has them firing, and Tim Brazzali is in the form of his life. I'll go the Chemists for me.
I'm going to have to go the Ferrets. I think coming into winter, it's their time of year. They've got such a strong team with guys turning up every week, and they know how to get it done. I think they'll do enough to get up this week and really start to push their way into the top 4.
Yeah, look, I think it'll be a close one. Freddie Allen just come into form. I think he might nearly be best on ground in this one and get the Chemists over the line.
Well, that'll be amazing. Phoenix versus the Wood Ducks. Your Wood Ducks, Matty. Phoenix have been really good. Matty Pearson into the side has really given them some real consistent backbone. And as much as I'd like to think that you guys can respond, I don't think you will. and I think the Phoenix will continue this tremendous season they've got going so far. Matt?
I'm going to have to go the Wood Ducks. Obviously, we're losing Nick Luddington for potentially the next 4 weeks to the Numerica Club Championships, but I think the rest of the guys will pick up the slack and will really start to hit form. I think Sam Hill's due for a big one, and hopefully he can produce that on Saturday as well as a few others, including myself.
Gee, all the form points to a Phoenix win, but if the Wood Ducks lose this one, they may find themselves too far out of the 8. I don't want to pick them, but I will. Wood Ducks.
Well, the Crumbles against the Buglers. Who would have thought this would be a blockbuster? The Buglers struggling a little so far. To me, the Corruptibles need to win. Sean O'Connell, I think, is going to... He's number 2 pick, and I think he really has some scores to settle across the bow of this game. I think the Corruptibles with Sean O'Connell, absolutely magnificent. Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go the Corruptibles there as well. They're the second highest scoring team this year, and although they're in 12th, I think they're just they're going to find their way in the finals, and this will be the start of their mid-season turnaround.
Yeah, in a canter. Won't even be close, Corruptibles.
The Sewer Rats against the Tridents. This could be a bloodbath. Sewer Rats are in great form, and the Tridents are looking for answers, and I'm not sure the answers will be there this weekend. So to me, the Sewer Rats comfortably.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. They're passionate and they're pretty loud out there. I have the opportunity to play with a few of them, and they're up and about and really firing, ready to walk into the 8. Jack Perrin, I think, will lead them to victory this week.
Well, Trident's down in second last with only 1 win so far. 2 wins so far out of 8. Normally a perennial top 4 team. So again, mathematically they're a chance to make the 8, but it has to start this week, not the week to come up against the Sewer Rats in career best form. So yeah, Tridents might find a way to win, but smart money has to be on the Rats.
Yeah. The way to win, I reckon, is if they pull out that beautiful Trident blue uniform that they have. It's magnificent.
Certainly they have suffered a little bit since going away from that blue.
Yeah, I think Trident blue, there's nothing better. The Wolfpack versus F Troop. Here we've got, this will be a cracking match. Once again, the F Troop need a win. They're in the middle of the pack. And I'm going to go for them against the Wolfpack purely because I know all 11 show up each week. So strength of numbers might be good enough for the F Troop to get over the Wolfpack in a slight upset.
I think the Wolfpack find their form once again and start their charge towards the top 4. I think they'll have a few more people turn up this week. Hopefully Dad can produce a good score for the first time in about 3 or 4 years, along with a few others. So I'm going to pick the Wolfpack.
All right. I'm actually leaning towards F Troop, but I think with the weather predicted over the next couple of days, there might be a little softer on the weekend, and some of the longer hitters in Wolfpack might make the difference with their extra low markers that they have. So Wolfpack in a close one for me, but no real conviction.
Yeah, well, the Gummers are up against the Vultures, and the Vultures are down in 14th. They've had 3 draws, the Vultures, this year, the most of any team ever. So they're just trying to find a way to win. And it's going to be hard to find it against the Gummers, who seem to be getting scores from everywhere. So I think the Gummers' consistency will be too good for the Vultures this weekend.
I'm going to pick up a bit of an upset this week. I think the Vultures, led by their ex-Charles Latrobe medalist, Michael Campese, they'll find a way to win this week. I think he's due, and he's a quality player, and he'll lead them to victory.
Yeah, Campo, the number 1 pick, Jamie Bain, Adrian Russo, also a newcomer to the Vultures this year, so those 3 have to play well for the Vultures to have a chance in this one. And yeah, I think it may just be the week where they come good.
Yeah, well, the Tunners against the Wanderers, and talking of teams that need to win, the Wanderers at the bottom, they certainly do need to win. And the Tunners, whilst they've been getting a few wins, they haven't been as impressive as in previous years, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Wanderers all here this weekend might get up in a bit of an upset.
I'm going to have to disagree there. I think the Tunners are just too solid. They've got Gordon Laurie, Lockie O'Connell as their X-factors, and I think that's just going to be too strong for the Wanderers this week.
Yeah, the Wanderers are capable of having 190, 195 on any given week, but it just hasn't really been working for them this year for whatever reason, with only 1 win so far. I don't see them adding to it this week. I think the Tunners will start their usual climb up towards the 8th that they typically find themselves in at the end of the season.
And the final match of the round is one that has one of the great rivalries, Wally-World now against the Back Nine Mafia. And there's one thing to consider here, and that is the curse of Scrapper McLeod. when Scrapper came across from Wallaroota Backnell Mafia all those years ago, they have not been beaten at Mafia, and the curse is not breaking this weekend, Matt.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with you there, Kraz. I think with one Carroll going down, the other Carroll will stand up, and Carroll will see himself as the top scorer for the week, I believe, and the Backnell Mafia will get the job done as usual.
Yeah, the curse won't end in our lifetime. Maybe 5-6 golf pros from now, in terms of down history, they'll be saying, "Is this the year that the curse will be broken?" But I don't think anything Wally World can do this weekend will break it. It's here to stay.
Yeah, I think so. Guys, that is it. That's the season so far. There's plenty to look forward to. Thank you very much, DC and Matt, for your insightful comments. Straight to the point, as always. Don't forget, everyone, if you want to win this thing, you need to turn up and play well. This has been GPL 357, and we'll see you on the weekend.